What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Advantage Bar for week number 3, your look at the shape of the metagame every single week. I'm Maria Bartholdi, one of your hosts. I've got Riley Knight in the co-host seat with me this week as well. What's up, Riley?
What's up, everyone? Welcome along to the Advantage Bar once again. Great to have your company. A lot of results to get across this week. Can't wait to dive into it.
Yes, and apologies for the state of the office behind me. Megan and I are moving offices for Good Luck High Five, so we're in the midst of a move here. But you know what? The metagame goes on. The metagame goes on. And we're in luck this week, Riley. We've got 2 amazing experts with us as well to help break the whole thing down. Cedric Phillips is one of them. What's up, Cedric?
Good morning, Maria. I apparently am having a better day than you because moving is awful. It's so bad.
It's real bad. Real bad. But you know what? We've got a pretty sweet office coming, so I'm really looking forward to that.
That's good.
We've also got Corey Baumeister here. Hey, Corey.
Hey, what's up, Maria? How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Congrats on the new office. That's exciting.
Hey, thank you so much. And we're going to talk to you a bit, too, because you actually played in the MagicFest Online Season 2 finals this past weekend, which is a huge story that we're going to be breaking down in this week's episode. So, Riley, let's get into it and kick things off with the news here and talk about the deck that took the whole thing down. It's a little bit of a blast from the past, or at least the recent past.
Yeah, Temur Adventures has kind of come out of left field, out of nowhere. It really took a lot of us by surprise. It was definitely one of the decks to watch, but on the periphery, you know, everyone was gunning for the Orion decks. We talked a lot last week about aggro decks coming out of nowhere, but it ended up being this deck that has been around the traps for quite a while. That won the whole thing in the hands of Jason Florent. And a really good performance from him. He snuck in to the series final after a 5-0 win in a last chance qualifier. So really just by the skin of his teeth all the way to the top there.
Yeah, this deck popularized by Aaron Gertler, aka Little Beep, in a DreamHack tournament a couple of months ago, proving that it has staying power in the standard metagame. Let's take a look at our top 8 and to find out what players joined him there in the finals of our championship. Take a look at what other decks also made it. We've got 2 copies of Mono-Red Aggro featuring Obosh, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show, Riley, kind of making its rise here. Mono-Red finally taking an opportunity to hit center stage. Then we've also got a couple of copies of Boros Cycling featuring Luris. No real surprises there. A Temur Reclamation, Bant Ramp featuring Yorion from Paulo Vitor Damadurosa, the Hall of Famer, and an interesting build there that I'm really excited to talk about more in the show. Another Hall of Famer here, Gab Nassif, playing Jeskai Luca featuring Yorion, a deck we really dove into last week on the show too. So really cool to see such interesting combinations of decks in our top 8.
I'm really surprised by the results this weekend. I thought it was just going to be Yorion all the way down. We only ended up having 2 Yorion decks in the top 8. I really thought it was just going to be an absolute whitewash, and that was just going to be Yorion, Bant Yorion, Jeskai Yorion, all the way down. Companion's still at the top of the standard table, there's no doubt about that, but a little more, spread out across a few more than I think a lot of us expected this weekend, Maria.
Yeah, so let's take the opportunity now to dive into the metagame breakdown from that tournament with our experts. All right, everybody, we're going to take a look at where Standard currently sits in the current metagame. And for that, let's take a look at our overall metagame breakdown for the MagicFest Online Series 2 finale. Take a look here at what has been going on. Jeskai Luca featuring Yorion, positive day 2 conversion rate up to 21% of the field on day 2. Positive conversion rate as well for Temur Reclamation, Bant Ramp featuring Yorion, and Mono-Red Aggro featuring Obosh, a deck that's kind of sprung onto the scene this week. Negative conversion rates for 2 decks I really want to point out here, Temur Elementals with Yorion and Rakdos Sacrifice featuring Luris. All right, I'll pose this question to the group. What do these numbers say to you? We're going to start out with Corey.
Well, one thing that the numbers say to me that is the most impressive is when the top 2 decks have a higher conversion rate. I think that is so interesting. It just shows that these top 2 decks are really here to stay. So it's really going to be a case about, well, you either join them or you figure a very targeted way to beat them.
How about you, Cedric?
I mean, there's a lot of takeaways you can have here. I love Corey's takeaway there for sure. One of the things I love to look at is just how the metagame has evolved over the past couple of weeks. I don't know if anyone has been able to find Cavalier Flame. Might be on the side of a milk carton. But, that and Kruger, they're just gone. And that's not even a thing that people are even considering anymore. Cavalier Flame was ubiquitous in Standard and a terrifying card to play against. And that just shows that Jeskai Fires has evolved into this Jeskai Luca Agent of Treachery mess. I mean, this metagame has shifted from when we started this show 3 weeks ago to what it is now. Standard it's humming. It's going crazy right now.
Yeah, it is blazing fast. Riley, for you, what stands out or what's interesting to you on this list?
We're seeing a lot of innovation happen on a level that is actually easy to miss. We're seeing, Yorion decks dominate the format, but underneath the surface, people are trying out new things. The Yorion list that featured the Temur Elementals deck with Yorion is something that really interests me. We're going to talk about decks like Mono-Red, the fact that it's back on the menu. The Sacrifice deck falling by the wayside. Jeskai Winota making a better name for itself. The Cycling deck still isn't finished. There's a lot of tinkering going on underneath the bonnet of Standard here. There's a lot of stuff that we still are figuring out. So while it's definitely safe to say that Yorion is at the top of the format, you take one step below the surface and all of a sudden there's a lot of stuff that's still left to explore.
Well, speaking of Yorion, Corey, you actually played some Jeskai Luca featuring Yorion in this very tournament. Tell us a little bit about your experience playing that deck.
Well, it was awesome because this has been my favorite deck since the E-League when I played Yorion Fires, and now this is the evolution, like Cedric was saying, just making Agent of Treachery is just so good in this deck, and whenever there's something really good to steal, this deck is so insanely powerful. Now, I LCQ'd in 2 days before because I just really wanted to play some Magic with it. Got the 5-0, got to play. And then when I played the tournament, I was like, you know what? This is going to be fine, Maria. I'm going to play last week's absolutely busted deck, and I'm going to do well, right? It's my favorite deck. I should do well with this, right? And I didn't win more than one game one, Maria. One. I am not kidding.
What happened, Corey? What?
Well, that's what happens when you bring last week's deck to a metagame that is shifting so fast, like Cedric was saying. I was playing Fires where everybody else had adapted to beat this Jeskai Luca deck, and they were playing 8 to 10 counterspells in the main deck. So basically, every single game one I lost, I got to go to the sideboard to bring in 8 to 10 counterspells, and then I, got lucky enough to win some of the matches, but game ones were an absolute nightmare for me because I didn't learn my lesson and played the same deck as last week.
Mono-Red Obosh was another deck that we saw a couple of copies in our top 8. And Riley, I want to talk to you about this deck because this is a deck that kind of made its appearance on the scene this week, despite me calling it 2 weeks ago with my bold predictions.
Yeah, look, just a little too early there, Marie. You may have peaked too soon, my friend, with that prediction there. I mean, it was bold. Maybe it was too bold. That might have been the problem. But listen, we've seen Mono-Red more or less come back from the dead here. It went from red deck tries to red deck sucks, and now it is back en route to become red deck wins again. And it is staggering to me. This is something I want to talk about a little bit later with everyone else. It is staggering to me that Mono-Red is seeing success without Embercleave and without Torbrand. These are the best cards in the deck, without a doubt. These were the best cards in the deck previously, and now Obosh is coming and saying, no, you can't play your 4-drops, you can't play your 6-drops, and all of a sudden it's back on the menu. I don't understand it. I don't understand how Tin Street Dodger and Grim Initiate are all of a sudden standard all-stars just because Obosh is here to juice them up. But this is the state of Mono-Red again. We did talk about aggro decks last week. We did predict there was going to be a resurgence, and we've seen that innovation. We've seen people go, Obosh is getting it done in Mono Black. Can we do it with Obosh in Mono-Red? The answer apparently, yep. It is good enough to run with the big dogs, and as a result, Mono-Red, it's made a big comeback.
Another deck that I want to touch on is actually Paulo Vitor Damaderosa's Bant Ramp deck that he brought to the tournament and made top 8 with. All right, Cedric, tell me about this. You are in love here.
It's so good.
I mean, this is, I would never play anything like this ever. Paulo really took this deck from being a Bant ramp deck to a Bant control deck. I mean, we're talking a lot of main deck counter spells, as Corey mentioned, which was very problematic for these Jeskai Luka decks, and he did this fantastic job of pinpointing exactly the way to go for this exact tournament based off of what people were doing. Kind of like World Championship 26, where he won. That's weird. I mean, he just identified everything.
What I was thinking. He did the same thing.
Right?
He figured it out.
He just identified everything perfectly. And outside of a minor error against Jason Farrat in the semifinals, like, there's a real chance that the story this weekend is him winning the tournament. You know, with this very innovative take on a Urian, Bant control ramp strategy, with these counter spells and these Night Pack ambushers. I mean, you want to talk about brilliant deck building. Oh, you're going to bring in counter spells? Cool. Dovin's Veto, Negate, Mystical Dispute. How about a 4/4 Wolf? Definitely can't beat when it's on the battlefield. I mean, this is Paulo at his best. I thought Worlds was his best, probably was, but I mean, this deck is fantastic.
Well, here's the thing. Paulo didn't have this trophy yet, right? So he needed to win this tournament. So
yeah, I
Corey,
guess he doesn't.
What
He
do you
doesn't
like
have
about
this
this
trophy
deck?
yet.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to echo what Cedric said. I think Paulo's deck was so perfect for the event. Oh, and also I lost to him quite miserably in day 2, like just absurdly. I think he main decked 10 counter spells and then had even more in the sideboard. But the thing I loved about his deck is he predicted what was going to be played for this week, which, if he's a smart person, which Paulo is obviously very smart and intelligent and good at the game, I swear we can get the fact checkers in here on that and double check that math. But if you're expecting to play against the best deck from last week, Jeskai Luka, you played these counter spells, which I alluded to before, but the sideboarding Night Pack ambushers were the really, really next level thing to me, because now he was saying the counter spells are what beats these decks, but how are people going to beat those decks? And they're going to beat them with counter spells like Dovin's Veto, Negate, Mystical Dispute, like Cedric said. And when you're able to play Ambusher, even on your opponent's end step, when you have 7 mana, it's like, are they going to double dispute this? And even if they single dispute it and you play it on turn 4, you get to untap, cast your Teferi, win the game that way. So expert deck building and a super good sideboard plan to pivot for this tournament. I loved it.
But Riley, I gotta ask you, we haven't talked about the deck that took the whole thing down, Temur Adventure. Let's talk a little bit about this and why this deck was so well positioned to take down this tournament. A lot of people call this deck the control killer.
It's quite an inward-facing deck, what we call a parasitic deck. It takes advantage of the adventure mechanic, which means that most of its cards come from Throne of Eldraine. So not a huge amount offered to it by Ikoria, of course, which doesn't have any adventures in it. But what's really important about this list in the current metagame is that it has the capacity to get under counter spells with powerful 1 and 2 drops, Edgewall Innkeeper, Lucky Clover. But after playing these high impact 1 and 2 drops, right, not 5 and 6 drops, it then transitions into a late game that even the Yorion decks cannot beat, right? It plays 3 sideboarded games because it has access to its sideboarding game number 1 with Granted. It makes counterspells look embarrassing with Lucky Clover because you just get so many copies of all the cards you're casting, whether it's a Rampant Growth or whether it's a Shock, whatever it is, right? And to round out the whole thing here, it generally has about 10 cards in hand. Thanks to having cards in the Adventure Zone, in the Exile Zone, in hand, thanks to Escape to the Wilds and all the cards that you're playing as well, you just never run out of resources. Sure, you're playing, marginally less powerful cards like 3 mana 4/3s and 3 mana 3/1s, but at the end of the day, your opponent never runs you out of resources, and so you can just contest the long game until you get to this 1-2 punch of fling with a Beanstalk Giant and take opponents out very quickly.
So here we find ourselves week to week, standard changing so quickly. Cedric, are we playing a rock, paper, scissors game here? Like round and round we go? What do you think for the future of standard?
I am incredibly excited to continue to do this show because I think things are going to change every single week, and I just find it very unlikely that things are going to get stagnant with how the standard format looks, because we're seeing innovation every single week. I made the joke about Cavalier Flames and where the heck is it gone, but seriously, think about that. Cavalier Flames, one of the best cards in the format. We, Maria, you and I were at World Championship 26, and it's like, oh man, here it comes. If they draw Cavalier Flames, the game is over off of Fires, and everything that's involved in that card, it's just like, now that card is just not playable. Are we serious? It's just gone? That's not a thing that people can do anymore. Karuga was just a natural inclusion in Fires, and they just get this free companion. This is so dumb. It's gone. Grim Initiate is the new hotness. Embercleave, Torbrand, see you later. Don't need those anymore. Like, what is going on here? But this is what makes this format so awesome. And Riley talked about it with Temur Adventures as well, because, I remember that deck coming from that DreamHack tournament, and it was like, well, what the heck's going on here? Like, we're Lucky Clover, all this other stuff. I mean, we are seeing innovation every single week, but I mean, we're talking about meaningful innovation. You would think that this Jeskai Luca deck with Agent of Treachery is the ultimate top shelf. You can't overcome a deck that has infinite, control magic effects like this. Well, sure I can. I'll just play longer than you. It's like, what? How do you play longer than you control magic? That's easy. Just Lucky Clover. Just copy my spells over and over again. Like, this is, I mean, what we're seeing here, it shows me that we are looking at an incredibly diverse format. We're looking at a format that's going to reward, really creative deck building. We talked about Apollo's deck. I mean, look, I'll say it again. If you are wrong about Missile Dispute in your main deck, your tournament is over fast. And if you are right, you look like a genius. Paulo, more often than not, well, he looks like a genius, as he does again here. But look, the innovation of this format is going to keep going and going and going. I'm really excited to watch what next week looks like, week after that, week after that.
A deck that I'm interested to see if it has legs going into next week was some innovation, kind of the breakout deck of the week, even though it's a deck that a lot of people have known for a long time, just with a little bit of a tweak. That's Mono-Red Obosh.
It has been wild to see Mono-Red blaze the comeback trail and make it big in Standard once again. This is a deck that used to be the scourge of the ladder and really has fallen off the face of the earth recently. Cedric, listen, mate, tell me a little bit about this deck and in its new form with Obosh. What's it trying to do? What's changed?
Well, Obosh means we're going to talk about odds. And what's changed is that you have to remove some even mana spells. Embercleave, Torbrand, Riley, as you mentioned, those are gone. If we take a look at World Championship 26, where Mono-Red was a quarter of the field, those were the reasons to play the deck, because both those cards were incredibly powerful. But metagames dictate what we should and should not be doing. And in this particular metagame, Torbrand, Embercleave, you're out of here. Obosh, and a bunch of really bad one-mana creatures, you're in here. But that's what we need. So, Grim Initiate, gonna dust you off. Scorch Spitter, Tin Street Dodger, and I still can't believe I have to know how to pronounce this card. Heraldic Banner? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, I guess. This deck is look, this version of Mono-Red is very much a metagame deck and not a power level deck. The version with Embercleave and the version with Torbrand, that deck was based off of its power level. Those cards are powerful. You could win games that way. Now it's about basically poking a hole in the metagame with this particular strategy. If people are going to main deck Mystical Disputes and stuff like that, you can get the job done with a strategy just like this. I don't know how good it's going to be for how long. I don't know what the shelf life looks like on this deck, Riley, but for right now, right place, right time, and boy, these cards are bad, but they're good enough.
Well, I mean, this is a question maybe we can pick up here, Corey. We're talking about right place, right time. Why is it that this deck is so well positioned right now? Why now for Mono-Red?
The reason why this deck was doing so good, it circles back to what we were talking about with Paulo's Bant ramp control deck, and that's the fact that everyone's playing 8 to 10 counterspells in the main. And you know what doesn't care about counterspells, Riley? Little bad 1/1 creatures for 1 mana. You just smash face while they're trying to Dovin's veto your heraldic banners. I mean, I guess, but you just go way under these counterspells.
Is the fact that the best cards in the deck were always Embercleave and always Torbrand, and this is how determined we are to get under these big decks, Maria. The fact that we are now ditching the best cards in the list.
Yeah, what's interesting to me, Riley, is, I mean, you're right. Those were the best cards. Those were the reason to play Mono-Red, right? But in this instance, we're getting under those control decks that have just gone off the deep end with their Mystical Disputes and their Dovin's Vetoes, number one. Number two, wouldn't you like it if your Torbrand or your Embercleave was always in your opening hand? I think you would. That's where Obosh comes in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of what the deck loses versus what it gains. And we talk about what it, Marie just told us what it gains, right? It gains the ability to get under counter spells and get on the board early with 1-drops. It gains an 8th card in hand. It gains its finisher, its Embercleave, its Torbrand, which is always in its hand. But Cedric, what is it losing? You've talked about it gaining all these 1/1s that you love so very much. There's these cards that you're hanging from your wall. What is it losing? What's it giving up?
I mean, what it's ultimately giving up is a higher power level with regards to, some games and some decks that you play in Magic. Sometimes you just go like, okay, how about a mythic rare? How about another rare? How about another mythic rare? And you're kind of flexing your muscles and saying, eventually, you can't beat them all. That's really what made Jeskai Fire such a powerful deck. They go, oh yeah, how about a Teferi? How about a Deafening Clarion? How about Fires plus Sphinx? How about a Cavalier and a Kenrith? And it's just like, all right, I give up. Leave me alone, please. But now it's just like, it's not about that anymore. You could say, if I draw enough Torbrands and Embercleaves, that's how I'm going to win the game. No longer is that what this mono-red deck is about. This mono-red deck is so unique insofar as, you have this ability to draw cards with Light Up the Stage, but the way that you're actually generating card advantage is that you end the game and the opponent still has cards left in their hand. And if they have 4 or 5 cards left in their hand, that means that they haven't got to cast those spells and play those things. And that means you've essentially drawn cards in that respect.
Well, one thing I want to ask both of you here, Corey and Cedric. Cedric, maybe you can kick us off here, mate, because obviously, you love getting in with your knuckleheads, as you keep calling them, these little ones here. What are you scared of now? What are the big decks going to do to adapt to this new ferocious, hostile force in the metagame?
Well, I guess the thing I would be most scared of is players taking this deck seriously. And what I mean by that is, if they decide they want to beat Mono-Red, I really don't think you have much of a shot. If players are like, you know what, we're going to go back to main deck Deafening Clarion. Okay, you win. Fine. That's what I think ends up happening. If people are like, how about a bunch of Shatter the Skies and Devout Decree? Cool, I can't possibly beat you. But if we're going to work into the territory that we talked about last week, Riley, which is Agent Treachery this, okay, fine. Agent Treachery back. Temur Adventures this, okay, fine. Then my 10th Street Dodgers and my Phoenix of Ashes, my Scorchbitters, they're just going to go like, yeah, you guys are doing your thing up here. We're like down here in the mud. We're trying to beat you that way, and that's fine. But again, if people really laser focus in on this deck, I don't think this deck stands up, to what's going on in the metagame because the cards are so powerful. But if they're not going to take this deck 100% seriously, which they feel like they might not need to, take a look at the top 8 results. Temur Adventures wins. Jeskai Luca gets second. As we headline and break, and Paulo, obviously his deck. If you break down those results, those are going to be what really stands out. And some mono-red players might be going, yes, beautiful. Play that stuff. I'm going to keep doing this. And that could be the plan.
So the best case scenario there for aggro players is just hoping that kind of no one notices that it's good again. Maria, you love playing aggro decks. You've kind of nailed your colors to the mast in that regard here. You must be feeling good about this, right? Or is it a bad thing? Like, is the fact that aggro is back on people's minds now, is this going to open the door for more aggro decks? What's going to happen next?
Well, I've been playing another aggro deck. I haven't been playing mono-red, but I have been playing another mono-color deck, mono-black, also featuring Obosh. And I'm like, play mono-red against me all day, baby. I don't care. It has, this mono-black deck has an excellent matchup against this mono-red deck and many of the top decks in the format because of all the discard that it has and hand disruption. But I've got lifelink in the form of Murderous Rider. I'm running 4 copies of Serrated Scorpion to gain life. I've got Shadow Spear in the board. I've got 4 copies of Cry of the Carnarium, 4 copies of Disfigure in the board. Come at me, bro. I don't care. What are you going to attack? Are you going to attack me through my Dinosaur, my Rotting Regisaur? Are you kidding me? Yeah, nice try. How about my Hunted Nightmare? That's a 4/5 with Menace. Just try and come at me, mono-red. That's all I have to say. Like, please keep playing it, and please keep playing your Yorion decks, because right now it is a playground for Maria and mono-black.
Yeah, it sounds like things are shaping up nicely now for other aggressive decks to kind of, not only aggressive decks that, prey on the go big Yorion decks, but also the ones, Corey, that also fight against, as Maria's saying, the ones that fight against mono-red itself. It seems to be a good spot to try to get some sort of innovative aggro list online here.
Yeah, I know whenever all the aggro players are going like this, yes, it's time for aggro. All the Jeskai Fires players that have been just being punched down repeatedly for weeks are like, is it my time to shine now? And maybe the Jeskai Luca decks, when it's not that effective to agent, steal your 1/1s or something like that, it is effective to cast Cavalier Flames. And I think maybe it's time to bring back the fear and keep these aggro decks in check.
Well, we will find out. It's one thing is for certain, however, and that is that aggro has made a resurgence. Where we go from here remains to be seen. My personal indication, my personal feeling is that we will see Jeskai Fire's the Karuga build return with its Shatter the Skies, with its Kenriths, with its Deafening Clarions, but we will wait and see. Jeskai Fire's players can take notice because it does seem like aggro is back on the menu.
All right, it's time for a fun new game we're going to play with all of our commentators this week. Keep, Mull, or Concede. Keep, of course, something that you love, a card, a deck, or a concept. Mull is something you don't really mind, but you are probably going to toss it back. And Concede, you never, ever want to see or hear from it ever again. All right, so our first topic for Keep, Mull, Concede is the top of the metagame this week. We've got Jeskai Luka, Boros Cycling, and Wilderness Reclamation. All right, Cedric, what's your call?
All right, we're going to keep Boros Cycling because can't really turn my back on the deck now, especially after 2 in the top 8. Let's mulligan Jeskai Luka. That, no problems with it. Not really my style. It's fine. But Wilderness Reclamation, Temur Reclamation, enough. I don't ever want to see or commentate it or anything ever again. Thank you.
Yep, I'm with you there, Cedric. How about you, Corey?
Oh, I'm definitely keeping Wilderness Reclamation. I am mulling Boros Cycling, and I am so far conceding Jeskai Luka after last weekend. I'm conceding, I'm dropping, I'm removing myself from the event at this point. Yeah.
It's personal. It's gotten personal, Corey. How about you, Riley?
I'm on board with Cedric. I like the aggro starts of the cycling deck. I'm happy to keep that one. I can take or leave the Luka deck, so I'll mulligan that one. But yeah, I'm conceding Jeskai. I'm conceding Temur Reclamation. I mean, principally for reason as a commentator, not as a player. I never want to commentate on this deck ever again. It is the worst.
All right, looks like you're outvoted here, Corey. Let's talk now about companions. We've got Yorion on the menu, Lurrus, and Obosh. Keep, Mull, Concede. We'll start with Riley this time.
Oh, I don't know. Yorion's kind of everywhere. But again, I just don't like Obosh type decks. I'll keep Lurrus. You can do some dumb stuff with Yorion, so I'll mull Yorion for another day. But Obosh, just get out of here. Like I'm never attacking with Obosh. Oh, nah, concede Obosh.
How about you, Corey?
Oh yeah, everyone under the face of the earth knows I'm keeping Yorion. I'm mulling Obosh because I've played that mono black deck. I love it, and I'm so sorry, Cedric. Get Lurrus out of here. I'm conceding that.
All right, Cedric, your response.
I am keeping Yorion.
What? Every week you've been talking about how great Lurrus is.
80 card decks are kind of cool. They're kind of cool.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
This is painful for me too. I am mulliganing Obosh. And that means, yep.
You can say it.
This is I am conceding Lurrus. This is the worst day. Oh, this is the worst. Look, I've lost to Lurrus so much in older formats. It's kind of turning its back on me a little bit. So I am conceding Lurrus. Please move on to the next anything.
My day is made.
Wow, I'm just in shock over here. So let's move to the next one. Here's the category after my own heart, best turn 1 option, because we're going to be doing something, right? Cauldron Familiar, Fervent Champion, Edgewall Innkeeper. Cedric, my aggro man, keep, Mull, Concede. What are you going to do?
I'm a big Javier Dominguez guy, so this is pretty easy for me. Fervent Champion, keep. Mulligan, Edgewall Innkeeper, that's definitely a card I actually could see myself playing, but Cauldron Familiar, not in a million billion years, and it makes the games take so long. So no more, please.
Yeah, like I have 2 cats. I love cats. This cat I hate. Never want to see it again. Corey, keep, Mull, Concede.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm keeping Edgewall Innkeeper because Green-Black Adventures was my favorite deck of all time, basically. I'm cool with Fervent Champion. Let's mold that, but I agree. Let's get Cauldron Familiar out of there. I'm conceding that. Just the triggers alone on Arena that you have to deal with and click OK resolve every time, it drives me insane.
All right, Riley, you're up.
Yep, I'm on board with the Baumeister here. I mean, a green card that draws cards, I'm in. Keep the Edgewall Innkeeper. Easy game. Javier Dominguez, whatever. It's fine. I'm never playing a red 1/1. I mean, he's a fine guy, but it's a 1-mana 1/1. Come on. It's a 1-mana 1 that attacks. I'm not interested in that. If it's good, if it draws cards, maybe. Cauldron Familiar. I mean, this may surprise a lot of you. I'm very dumb. I'm very bad at the game of Magic, and the more decision points I have to make, it's like, hang on, do I exile it now, or do I no? Because there's the oven, so I need to. No, get it out of here. I don't ever have to want to worry about the Cauldron Familiar ever again.
Let's talk artifacts on the table. Embercleave, Lucky Clover, Witch's Oven. Those are the three. Keep, Mull, Concede. We'll kick it off with Corey.
I am going to keep Lucky Clover because I think that card is great right now. We're going to mulligan Embercleave because I prefer Obosh. But honestly, let's concede Witch's Oven and let it go be friends with its cat in the Concede 0-2 bracket like it's been doing in all the tournaments.
Oh, yes. Mic drop. All right, Riley, what do you think?
Look, I'm probably in the same kind of boat as Corey here. I like Lucky Clover. I like dumb build arounds like this, and I think also the Temur Adventure deck is legitimately very good. I don't know. I don't like Embercleave or Witch's Oven either. So can I concede both of them?
No, you can't. You have to pick.
Is that in the rules? Can we check the rule book? Can I just get? Then again, I don't know. I guess Embercleave in like a green-red deck would be. Nah, just get them both out here. Just concede. I'll have 2 Lucky Clovers and I'll concede the other 2.
All right, you're cheating, Cedric.
Disqualified.
All right, I'm going to go in reverse order here. I'm going to concede Embercleave because the number of times that I've been attacked with all of my opponent's creatures and just knowing, okay, cool, I'm dead. I've had enough of that. I'm going to mulligan Lucky Clover, inoffensive, really good card, but I'm actually going to keep Witch's Oven, even though I got rid of the cat, because have you ever hacked cookies? Cookies are so good.
Mate.
Hey, I gotta tell you,
cooking
cookies are not what are being made in that Witch's Oven.
Yeah. Are you going to eat a witch's cookies? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what are you talking about, mate? You're
going to turn into a frog. You're going to turn into a frog if you eat a witch's cookie.
You're going to be turned into a newt, right? No, it's not. No, you should never.
I really want Corey to write a children's book
now. Which offers you baked goods, do not accept. You say, no, thank you. I don't want them.
Wait. You're going to turn into like a Yorian lover instead of a Lurrus. Wait a minute. Have you been eating the witch's cookies already?
He's been eating witch's cookies. It's very clear.
This explains it. This explains it.
Cookies are really good.
We've reached the point in the show where we are at our challenges. Every week we've got a challenge for everybody watching at home using the hashtag #PushTheAdvantage for you to do something really cool. Take a screenshot, maybe you capture a clip that you saw, share a clip with us from your favorite streamer, something like that. Last week it was for the biggest Zenith flare, and we saw a couple of pretty good ones. This first one actually happened in the quarterfinals of the MagicFest Online Season 2 finals, and it happened to poor Simon Gertzen.
Simon says, well, sure, I'm not even going to bother with the fox since you can just give it trample anyway. 11, 12, flare you for the win? There it is, Zenith Flare for 16 to finish off Simon Gertzen. He had to know that was coming, but put himself in a position to win next turn if somehow, some way his opponent didn't find it, but they did.
The second clip that we found, Riley, why don't you set this one up for us? Because this one is my personal favorite. It's awesome.
Wow. This one, just Buckwild, coming to us from Just Lola Man here, who you will notice is on a relatively healthy 34 life. Now, 33 after this attack, you think, okay, well, what could go wrong, right? If there's a Zenith Flare, at the moment it's 16. That's not lethal. Even 2 Zenith Flares, if they're lucky enough to have that, also not lethal. Beekeeper has a quick think about it, fires off the Zenith Flare, sure, that's fine. Oh, a second one as well? I'm not worried about, oh, okay, they've got a Lutri. Okay. Now, the thing I want to point out here, not only did you need 3 copies, right, of Zenith Flare to die, because otherwise 2 just leaves you on 1, Lutri is not supposed to copy cards you have multiples of in your deck. The whole idea of Lutri is you're playing Singleton. And so it's copying it's a flavor violation. It is one of the most amazing victories I've ever seen. And I mean, poor Just Lola, man. What a way to go down. A Zenith Flare for 48
You can't be mad.
effectively. Oh, jeez. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. It's just, it's bonkers.
So if you see any clips that you think are absolutely bonkers this week's challenge is just the most awesome moments that you find either from the Mythic qualifier that's happening on Arena if you watch anybody streaming or if you're playing it yourself, or from the Red Bull tournament coming up this weekend. To use the hashtag #PushTheAdvantage and share them with us, whether it's a screen grab, whether you share a clip, whether you have a recording, anything at all, we'll take it. Just the most awesome moments from these 2 marquee tournaments this weekend is what we want to see.
All right, my friends, it's time for the best part of the show. It's time for the bold predictions. Time for us all to make some big calls about what's going to take place next week. Before we do that, however, there will be a reckoning. We will have to take account of how we went last week. Now, our highly impartial arbiter here has given all of our predictions from last week a grade, common through to mythic rare. And, well, look, I mean, I say impartial, but I last week predicted that Tail's End would be in multiple top 8 decks, and for that I was given an uncommon, even though there was one, you know, when I said multiple, I mean, did I even say multiple? Really, there's no way for me to, I mean, maybe I just said it, but there was only going to be, there's no way to tell. In any case, uncommon for me. And Maria, you did, well, your prediction ended up with you in the same spot. You said Yorion decks will be 65%. That's a huge call. 65% of the meta last week. They ended up being 38% day 1, 42 day 2. So that's an uncommon for you. That's a pretty good result, I'd say.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that for sure.
I mean, after, you know, saying 65% of the meta and ending up with uncommon, I think that's pretty good. Someone who didn't do quite as well, and this gives me great pleasure to punish Corey for a prediction that he didn't make, because Corbin was on the show last week and said that Umori was going to be in the top 8 of this week's tournament. It was not. 0 copies in the top 8, 0 copies on day 2, 0 copies registered in the tournament. Corey, what have you got to say for yourself?
You know, I gotta say that Corbin may be trying to even out the playing field, because I'm just gonna crush you 3 so badly that without Corbin dragging down my average here, you know, it would be such an easy victory. So it makes sense to even the field a little bit here. So I like the call. I think Common is pretty fair to the rest of you 3, actually.
That's exactly what Corbin, that's probably exactly why he did it, to be honest. He realized that he had to be the, you know, the natural handicap for your brilliance. Anyway, the winner, I guess, this week, is that what we're doing? Like, the winner, I suppose, is none other than Mr. Cedric Phillips. Boros Cycling would win the tournament with a lethal Zenith Flare. I mean, it didn't win. It made it to the semi-finals, however, so a rare rating given to your prediction there. Well done, Cedric. Well done, mate. One thing I want to come back to is the fact that Maria absolutely nailed the prediction from 2 weeks ago. Maria, is next week going to be 65% Yorion decks? Like, is your sort of, does your inner eye need a little bit of testing? Are you looking too far forward into the future, mate?
You know what? I think that just might be it, Riley. I just might be like too good at predicting what's going to happen.
That's it.
You know, I'm just too far ahead of the game, you know? My Mono-Red prediction, I'm going to give myself a mythic from 2 weeks ago.
From 2 weeks ago. So what's going to happen now, right? We're all going to make our bold predictions here and now. And what I want you to do, revered viewers at home, listen to Maria's one, forget it, ignore it, until the week after next, because then it's going to be spot on. Maria, what have you got for us this week? What's your bold prediction?
Well, in 2 weeks, Riley, the future is going to be so dark. I got to wear shades. Mono Black Obosh is going to be the deck of the moment. Mark my words, Mono Black Obosh, you'll rule the day you did not play this deck.
So this weekend, of course, we've got the Mythic Qualifier coming up. We've got the Red Bull Untapped series as well coming your way. So Maria's prediction, that what are we going to see in, like, as a top performing deck, Mono Black Obosh?
Yeah, top performing deck. Let's put a copy in the top 8. Let's do that.
All right, okay, easy game. There we go. Well, good luck to you, Maria. You certainly need it. Anyway, Cedric here, doubling down, mate, on your big win this week. What is the bold prediction you've got for us as we head into the Mythic Qualifier and Red Bull Untapped?
All right, it's time to make the move. We're off the Boros cycling train. We're pulling into the Bant, Ramp, Flash, Control, Paulo Vitor Damaderosa train, because who better to trust than the world champion in PvDDR? I think that that deck will put one person into the top 8. You know what? in the top 8 of the Red Bull tournament.
Wow, that's a huge call. There you go.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Okay, that's there you go. Another big call there from Cedric. We'll see how you go, mate. All right, Corey, and you, mate, what's your big call? What's your bold prediction for the coming week?
All right, mine is going to be a bit of a response to Aggro coming back here. I think Jeskai Fires Karuga is going to do better than Jeskai Fires Luca to prey on these aggressive decks, aka Cavalier of Flames is in, Agent of Treachery is out.
Well, I'm kind of a little annoyed that I did the polite thing and let someone else go ahead of me, because that was going to be my one, because I thought it was a very easy way to get a good ranking for next week, so I guess I'll go for something else. No, listen, I talked about one of my pet cards last week, Tail's End. It did very well. I was robbed. We can all agree on that with the rating. However, this week, I can tell you, the card of the week is going to be Risen Reef. Risen Reef in the Temur Yorion Elementals list. This is the new hotness. Jeskai Luca is so 2 weeks ago, everyone, and the new best Yorion deck is going to be Elementals powered up. Proudly brought to you by the power of Risen Reef. So keep an eye on that. Risen Reef is going to be one of the top performing decks this weekend. Mark my words. But we will be back next week to hand out those rankings from our allegedly impartial arbiters behind the scenes. They're like, you can tell that I'm past it. You can tell that I'm over it. Like, it doesn't just water off a duck's back to me. It's totally fine. Don't even worry about it. Anyway, but those are our bold predictions, and we'll be back next week to see how we all went.
That's right. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us every single week. Remember to check back here every Friday morning for a brand new episode of The Advantage Bar. For Riley Knight and myself and all of our experts, thanks for hanging out and checking out the shape of competitive Magic every single week. And remember to push the advantage.